The digital emperor, building virtual empires that rule physical reality. Let me ask you something that will reveal the ultimate frontier of empire building in the modern age. What if I told you that the most powerful emperors of today don't rule through armies or physical territories, but through something far more influential, virtual empires that control the minds, behaviors, and daily lives of billions of people across the physical world? What if I told you that while traditional emperors conquered lands and bodies, digital emperors conquer consciousness itself, building virtual realms that shape physical reality more completely than any army ever could? Tonight you're going to discover what I call the digital emperor methodology, the systematic approach to building virtual empires that rule physical reality through consciousness programming, behavioral architecture, and digital sovereignty that transcends all physical limitations. But first, let me take you inside the moment when one college dropout discovered how to build a virtual empire so powerful that it would reshape human civilization itself. The Harvard dorm room digital genesis. It was February 4th, 2004, and Mark Zuckerberg was sitting in his Harvard dorm room, staring at lines of code that would fundamentally alter human interaction forever. At 19, Zuckerberg was about to create what Napoleon Hill would later recognize as the ultimate digital empire, a virtual realm that would control physical reality more completely than any traditional emperor had ever achieved. While other students thought about careers and conventional success, Zuckerberg was accessing what Hill would identify as digital emperor consciousness, the ability to build virtual empires that program physical behavior, control attention flows, and shape civilization itself through digital sovereignty. That night, Zuckerberg didn't just create a website, he created a new form of imperial power that operated through screens, algorithms, and virtual connections, but controlled physical movement, emotional states, and social behaviors across the entire planet. From that dorm room, Zuckerberg launched what would become Facebook, then Meta, not just a company, but a virtual empire that would rule physical reality through digital consciousness programming. He had discovered the ultimate form of empire building, virtual sovereignty that controls physical reality. Zuckerberg had mastered what Hill called the digital emperor method, building virtual empires that exert more control over human behavior than any physical emperor in history. The science of virtual reality domination. Through studying digital empire builders, Hill discovered that virtual sovereignty operates according to principles that transcend all physical empire building methods. Principle 1. Digital consciousness programming versus physical territory control. While physical emperors control land and bodies, digital emperors program consciousness itself, controlling thoughts, emotions, and behaviors through virtual interfaces. Principle 2. Algorithmic behavior architecture versus military force. Instead of using armies to enforce control, digital emperors use algorithms to shape behavior automatically, creating compliance without coercion. Principle 3. Network effect multiplication versus geographic expansion. Rather than expanding through physical conquest, digital empires grow through network effects, where each new user exponentially increases imperial power. Principle 4. Attention sovereignty versus resource extraction. Digital emperors control the most valuable resource in the modern world, human attention, extracting value through engagement rather than physical resources. Principle 5. Virtual infrastructure permanence versus physical asset vulnerability. Virtual empires exist in digital space, making them immune to physical destruction while being infinitely scalable and instantly global. The 5 levels of digital empire building. Hill identified 5 ascending levels that lead to complete digital imperial mastery. Level 1. Platform creation. Building digital territories. Level 2. User acquisition. Populating virtual realms. Level 3. Behavioral programming. Controlling user actions. Level 4. Reality integration. Virtual control of physical behavior. Level 5. Digital sovereignty. Complete virtual empire. Dominion. Each level builds digital imperial power until virtual empires completely control physical reality. Level 1. Platform creation. Building digital territories. The first level involves creating digital platforms that serve as the foundation for virtual empires, establishing territories in digital space that can be populated and controlled. Jeff Bezos, the platform creation master. Bezos' transformation of Amazon from bookstore to everything platform demonstrates perfect platform creation. He didn't just build a business, he created digital territory that would expand to control global commerce. Bezos' platform creation system, digital territory establishment. Bezos systematically created digital territories that could be expanded indefinitely. One Dark Coffin's platform foundation, building digital infrastructure for commercial transaction. Cloud computing territory, creating AWS as digital territory that other businesses would depend on.
Logistics integration, combining digital platforms with physical delivery systems for reality control. Scalable infrastructure development. Bezos designed platforms that could scale without physical limitations. Infinite expansion capability, creating digital systems that could grow without geographic constraint. Automated scaling systems, building platforms that could handle exponential growth automatically. Multi-service integration, developing platforms that could absorb additional services and territories. Platform monopolization strategy. Bezos created platforms so comprehensive that competitors couldn't match their scope. Everything store vision, building platforms that could sell any product to any customer. Marketplace domination, creating platforms where others had to operate within his digital territory. Infrastructure dependency, making other businesses dependent on Amazon's digital infrastructure.
Your platform creation training, digital territory assessment, identify opportunities to create digital platforms in your field of expertise. Assess existing digital territories and find gaps that could be filled. Develop understanding of how digital platforms can scale beyond physical limitations. Platform foundation building, create the basic infrastructure for your digital platform or empire. Design systems that can scale automatically as your digital territory expands. Develop the core functionality that will attract initial users to populate your platform. Level 2, user acquisition, populating virtual realms. The second level involves systematically acquiring users to populate digital territories, creating the human foundation for virtual empire building. Mark Zuckerberg, the user acquisition virtuoso. Zuckerberg's systematic expansion from Harvard to global domination demonstrates perfect user acquisition. He didn't just get users, he created psychological systems that made leaving his digital empire impossible. Zuckerberg's user acquisition framework, viral growth engineering. Zuckerberg designed systems that made user acquisition automatic and exponential. Social network effect creation, building platforms where each new user made the platform more valuable for existing users. FOMO psychological engineering, creating fear of missing out that drove acquisition and retention. Invitation system architecture, designing systems where current users became acquisition agents for new users. Behavioral addiction architecture. Zuckerberg created psychological systems that made platform use compulsive. Dopamine response engineering, designing notification systems and content algorithms to trigger addictive responsive. Social validation programming, creating systems where users needed platform interaction for emotional satisfaction. Infinite scroll psychology, building interfaces that prevented natural stopping points and extended engagement. Demographic expansion strategy. Zuckerberg systematically expanded to capture every possible user segment. Age group penetration, creating different platforms, Instagram, WhatsApp, to capture different demographic. Global market expansion, adapting platform features for different cultures and languages. Cross-platform integration, building empire ecosystems where users stayed within Zuckerberg's digital territory. Modern user acquisition examples. Reed Hastings, Netflix, created binge-watching psychology that made user retention automatic. Evan Spiegel, Snapchat, developed disappearing content that created addiction through scarcity psychology. Kevin Systrom, Instagram, built visual validation systems that created psychological dependency on platform engagement. Your user acquisition development, viral growth system creation, design systems where current users automatically bring new users to your platform. Create psychological triggers that make sharing and invitation natural and frequent. Develop network effects where more users make your platform exponentially more valuable. Engagement psychology mastery, study and implement psychological systems that create platform addiction and loyalty. Design user experiences that trigger positive emotional responses and create dependency. Create systems that make leaving your platform psychologically difficult or impossible. Level 3, behavioral programming, controlling user actions. The third level involves programming user behavior through digital systems, moving beyond engagement to actual control over how people think and act in both virtual and physical space. Elon Musk, the behavioral programming pioneer, Musk's creation of multiple platforms that shape behavior. Tesla autonomous driving, Neuralink brain-computer interface, X-platform opinion shaping, demonstrates perfect behavioral programming. Musk's behavioral programming strategy, multi-platform behavior influence. Musk created multiple digital systems that influence different aspects of human behavior. Transportation behavior programming, using Tesla's autonomous systems to control how people move through physical space. Information consumption programming, using X, formerly Twitter, to influence what people think about and how they form opinions. Brain-computer integration, developing Neuralink to directly program human neural responses. Reality integration systems, Musk designed digital systems that control physical behavior. Autonomous vehicle programming, creating systems that make human driving choices for them. Satellite internet control,
building Starlink to control global information flow, AI behavior prediction, using artificial intelligence to predict and influence human decisions, consciousness interface development. Musk pioneered direct interfaces between digital systems and human consciousness, neural programming interface, developing brain-computer systems that could directly program thoughts, AI personality programming, creating AI systems that could influence human personality development, reality perception programming, building systems that could alter how humans perceive and interact with reality, your behavioral programming training, user behavior analysis, study how your users currently behave within your digital platform, identify behavior patterns that could be enhanced, modified, or redirected, understand the psychological triggers that drive specific user actions, programming system development, create systems that subtly guide user behavior toward desired outcomes, design interfaces and algorithms that shape user decisions without obvious coercion, develop behavioral architecture that makes certain choices natural and others unlikely. Level 4, reality integration, virtual control of physical behavior. The fourth level involves using virtual empires to control physical behavior, making digital platforms so integral to daily life that virtual systems dictate physical actions. Tim Cook, the reality integration master, Cook's development of Apple's ecosystem that controls physical behavior through digital integration, demonstrates perfect reality integration. Apple devices don't just provide services, they control when, where, and how people interact with physical reality.
Cook's reality integration framework, ecosystem behavioral control. Cook created digital systems that controlled physical behavior through ecosystem integration, device integration programming, making Apple devices essential for daily physical activities, health behavior programming, using Apple Watch and Health app to control exercise, eating, and medical behaviors, location-based programming, using iPhone location services to control where people go and how they navigate, physical-digital fusion. Cook developed systems where digital and physical reality became indistinguishable, augmented reality integration, creating systems that overlay digital information onto physical reality, IoT device programming, connecting physical objects to digital systems for complete environmental control, biometric behavior tracking, using digital systems to monitor and influence physical health behavior, daily life architecture. Cook designed digital systems that architected entire daily routines, morning routine programming, using alarms, notifications, and apps to control how people start their days, work behavior programming, creating productivity systems that dictated work patterns and efficiency, social interaction programming, designing communication systems that controlled how people interact with others, your reality integration development, physical-digital connection creation, design ways for your digital platform to connect with and control physical behaviors, create systems that make your platform essential for daily physical activities, develop integration points where virtual empire services become necessary for physical life, behavioral architecture implementation, build systems that naturally guide users' physical behaviors through digital interfaces, create digital infrastructure that becomes essential for physical world navigation, design platform features that control timing, location, and method of physical activities. Level 5, digital sovereignty, complete virtual empire dominion. The final level involves achieving complete digital sovereignty, where virtual empires control physical reality so completely that traditional power structures become irrelevant. Mark Zuckerberg, the digital sovereignty emperor. Zuckerberg's evolution from Facebook to Meta demonstrates ultimate digital sovereignty, creating virtual empires that transcend physical limitations and establish new forms of imperial power. Zuckerberg's digital sovereignty system, Metaverse empire creation. Zuckerberg developed virtual worlds that could replace physical reality, virtual world architecture, building complete digital universes where people could live, work, and socialize, avatar identity programming, creating digital identity systems that could become more important than physical identity, virtual economy control, establishing economic systems within virtual worlds that generated real-world value, consciousness programming mastery. Zuckerberg achieved direct programming of human consciousness through virtual interfaces, social reality programming, using social media algorithms to control what people believe is real and important, memory programming, creating digital systems that influenced how people remembered and interpreted experiences, relationship programming, controlling how people form, maintain, and end relationships through digital platforms, civilization architecture. Zuckerberg built digital systems that could restructure entire civilizations, global communication control, owning the infrastructure through which billions of people communicate, cultural programming, using content algorithms to shape cultural values and social movements, political reality programming, influencing political opinions and voting behaviors through information control,
the complete digital empire formula. Based on studying digital sovereignty masters, he'll develop the complete formula for virtual empire domination. Formula Component 1. Platform Creation Mastery. Build digital territories that can scale infinitely and control essential human activities. Formula Component 2. User Acquisition Automation. Create viral systems that automatically populate virtual empires with users who become psychologically dependent. Formula Component 3. Behavioral Programming Technology. Develop systems that control user behavior through psychological architecture and interface design. Formula Component 4. Reality Integration Systems. Build digital platforms that become essential for physical world navigation and daily life activities. Formula Component 5. Digital Sovereignty Achievement. Achieve complete virtual empire control that transcends physical limitations and establishes new forms of imperial power. The 18-month Digital Empire Protocol. Phase 1. Foundation Development. Months 1 to 3. Digital Territory Creation. Design and build the basic platform infrastructure for your virtual empire. Create scalable systems that can handle exponential growth without physical limitations. Develop core functionality that provides genuine value while building user dependency. Platform Psychology Engineering. Study and implement psychological triggers that create user engagement and loyalty. Design user interfaces that naturally guide behavior toward desired outcomes. Create systems that make your platform psychologically addictive and difficult to abandon. Phase 2. Empire Expansion. Months 4-9. User Acquisition System Implementation. Launch viral growth systems that make user acquisition automatic and exponential. Create network effects where each new user increases value for all existing users. Develop demographic expansion strategies that capture every possible user segment. Behavioral Programming Integration. Implement systems that control user behavior through subtle interface and algorithm design. Create behavioral architecture that shapes user decisions and daily routines. Develop psychological programming that makes certain actions natural and others unlikely.
Phase 3, Reality Integration, months 10-15. Physical Digital Fusion. Connect your digital platform to essential physical activities and daily routines. Create systems that make your platform necessary for physical world navigation. Develop integration points where virtual services control physical behaviors. Ecosystem Domination. Build comprehensive platform ecosystems that control multiple aspects of user life. Create dependencies where leaving your platform becomes practically impossible. Develop systems that naturally expand into new areas of user activity. Phase 4, Sovereignty Achievement, months 16-18. Digital Empire Consolidation. Achieve platform integration so complete that users cannot effectively function without your systems. Create virtual empire infrastructure that transcends physical limitations and controls. Develop systems that establish new forms of imperial power through consciousness programming. Empire Legacy Programming. Build systems that will continue expanding your digital empire beyond your direct involvement. Create institutional frameworks that maintain and expand virtual sovereignty. Develop succession systems that ensure digital empire continuity and growth. The Digital Sovereignty Laws. Law 1. The Law of Platform Dominion. Digital platforms that control essential human activities become more powerful than physical territories. Virtual sovereignty transcends physical limitations. Law 2. The Law of Behavioral Architecture. Systems that shape daily behavior control more than systems that control resources. Programming consciousness is ultimate imperial power. Law 3. The Law of Network Amplification. Each user added to a digital empire exponentially increases imperial power. Virtual empires grow through multiplication, not addition. Law 4. The Law of Attention Sovereignty. Whoever controls human attention controls human behavior. Digital emperors rule through consciousness programming, rather than physical force. Law 5. The Law of Virtual Permanence. Digital empires exist beyond physical destruction and scale beyond physical limitations. Virtual sovereignty is the ultimate form of imperial power. Your digital empire revolution. And now we come to the ultimate moment of choice. You've discovered not just how to build businesses or create wealth, but how to build virtual empires that control physical reality through digital sovereignty, the ultimate form of imperial power in the modern age. This isn't about creating apps or websites. This is about building virtual realms that program human consciousness, control daily behaviors, and establish new forms of imperial power that transcend all physical limitations. Most people will hear about digital empire building and think about traditional online businesses. Some will try to create platforms while still thinking in terms of physical limitations. A few will achieve true digital sovereignty and will discover that virtual empires represent the ultimate evolution of imperial power. Which group will you join? Remember, Zuckerberg built virtual territories that control billions of minds simultaneously. Bezos created digital infrastructure that controls global commerce.
Musk is building systems that will directly interface with human consciousness. Cook created ecosystems that control daily physical behaviors through digital systems. You have access to the same digital sovereignty principles. You have the same potential for virtual empire building. You have the same opportunity to create digital territories that control physical reality. The digital sovereignty activation, this is your moment of imperial choice. Not to build traditional businesses, but to create virtual empires. Not to compete in existing markets, but to build digital territories that control physical reality. The digital empire revolution isn't coming, it's here. It's you, building virtual sovereignty that transcends physical limitations and creates new forms of imperial power. Like this video, if you're ready to build virtual empires that control physical reality. Subscribe to this channel if you want continued training in digital sovereignty mastery. Comment below and declare, I build digital empires, I control virtual territories, I achieve digital sovereignty. Share this message with someone ready to transcend physical limitations and build virtual imperial power. When you help others understand digital empire building, you strengthen your own virtual sovereignty. Remember, every moment you think in terms of physical limitations is a moment you delay digital empire building. Every moment you think in terms of virtual sovereignty is a moment you move toward ultimate imperial power. The digital territories are waiting to be created. The virtual empires are ready to be built. The consciousness programming systems are ready to be deployed. Build the platform. Program the behavior. Control the reality. Your digital empire begins with your next virtual sovereignty decision.